And good evening, everyone. Thanks all for being here. Lilo Main, good to see you. I see Mike Simao. There's Janice. We've got Stephen Young, Neil D. Hello there, and good to see you. Let me just double check that we are streaming on. Yes, we are streaming on YouTube, so no worries there. We just changed the chat settings once again. All right, yeah, great to see you all. Thanks all for being here tonight. It's just me, not Thunderous. I will be catching up with Thunderous again in next year. Excellent. Thanks, Neil D. All right, so yeah, this will be my last stream, I think, before Christmas. And yeah, I'll be traveling to see family. Adrian, welcome. Ionescu, welcome. Villainous, so good to see you. Yeah, so I'll be traveling before Christmas, and I'll be back after Christmas. Hopefully there'll be snow where I'm going. And yeah, so Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope it's going to be a great Sheikh Khalifa. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, I hope it's a fantastic Christmas where you are with your families. Yeah, I'm really hoping for snow this year and not just rain. That's just depressing. Okay. Yeah, Time Phaser, welcome. Did he mean Soviet Tinia instead of Soviet Palestine? Yeah, probably. Roseanne Rossi, hey, good to see you. Sandro, welcome. Thanks for the updates and for reaching out to you know who. Okay, yeah, guys. So let's dive in. So something I want to tackle for next year, because everyone's been asking me for 2 years now to do Martin Luther in more depth. I will be tackling Martin Luther. So currently I have 46 slides, but there's a lot more to be added onto this from additional materials. So I will do Martin Luther next year. So I've got a lot of material that I will be talking about. And we'll be discussing how Martin Luther called Christ an adulterer, despite all of the claims to the contrary, because yes, he did. Then you've got a whole bunch of other things. Of course, him saying that disabled people should be killed and that kind of thing, or at least one can most certainly infer that from Martin Luther's claims. So yeah, so guys, my community tab, stay up to date with that. I post little things like, as you know, this is what Muslims tell us a 6-year-old. Well, let me just go back there. As you know, this is what Muslims tell us a 6-year-old looked like in the 7th century, that women aged a lot faster than because of the heat. Sadly, with global cooling, this is what 6-year-olds look like today. You know, I can see how it was difficult for them to distinguish between a grown woman and a 6-year-old back then. The Alonzo Harris. Alonzo Harris is a female, and she is far too scared to come on live and deal with me. I've invited Alonzo Harris. In fact, she ran away twice from lives that I've set up. She's run away from Ask Truth Apologetics. She's run away from Hussein Mashni, from Adam Seeker, from Thaddeus and Reason Dances, and a whole bunch of other people, I'm sure, but at least those that I know of failed to show, and from Too Many Marys, failed to show up. Talks big mouth. Yeah, complete coward. All right. Just so you know, these are Muslims and these are Nazi SS soldiers, right? So there was a time when Nazi phobia and Islamophobia were the same thing. Yes, Michelle, very much a coward. Hello, Triple B. Yeah, Nazi phobia. So when people tell you you have Islamophobia, just say, yeah, just like we had Nazi phobia, and it was fully justified, right? Nazi phobia was a great idea. Just let them know it was a fantastic idea. And yeah, so, you know, and I will be doing talks on the Nazi Mufti, because Muslims really don't like that discussion. In fact, I've had posts removed. I've had things flagged on Facebook to talk about the Nazi involvement of the Muslims. Can get your account flagged, can get your post removed, can get your account sort of suspended for weeks. It's happened to me. Yeah. All right. So, by the way, so I've been posting these things. Now, something that I really want to point to, something that is something that I will be getting to, because I will next year be talking about Martin Luther, is, now, I've seen people make very interesting claims. They say, Lloyd, you're lying. Lloyd, you're a liar. Now that's fascinating. Can you be more specific? All right. And even when they try to be more specific, I'd like them then to also be more honest. That would be very nice. But Martin Luther thought of himself as a prophet. I've covered this previously. I've done an entire episode in my scholasticism series, Theological. Martin Luther saw himself as a prophet. And of course, the Germans, he was the prophet of Germany. They held him as a prophet. So he was greater than any pope. But I do want to mention this. This is important. So Martin Luther redefined words. He redefined the meaning of words, which is what atheists do, which is what Muslims do. And sadly, it is also actually a practice of the early Protestant church fathers. And of course, Martin Luther rejected the early church fathers. Now, of course, when it was convenient, he would accept Augustine. And when Augustine went against him, he would throw Augustine under the bus, right? But he does write in his preface to the letter of St. Paul to the Romans, he writes, "Unless you understand these words in this way, you will never understand this letter of St. Paul or any book of the scriptures. Be on guard, therefore, against any teacher who uses these words differently, no matter who he be, whether it is Saint Jerome, Saint Augustine, Ambrose, Origen, or anyone else as great as or greater than they." So Martin Luther was basically saying, if these old church fathers, I am greater than them, you listen to me, you ignore the early church fathers, you ignore the saints, you ignore every single Christian who was in the 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th century. You ignore all of them. You only listen to me. This was Martin Luther's take on this. He did not respect the Bible because, I will excuse my French here, but Martin Luther insulted and pissed all over the Bible. He took a dump on half the Bible, okay? Martin Luther dropped his pants and took a dump on half the Bible, as we will be discussing in future, because Martin Luther, for all of his sola scriptura, had zero respect. Oops, I got to fix my camera again, I see. Gee whiz. Martin Luther had zero respect for the Bible. Okay, he was constantly insulting it. And this is something that annoys me. I will be discussing this, but you can check this out on my channel. So it's, yeah. So any comments or thoughts on this? So, because, yeah, the standard narrative about Martin Luther is what you call lies. And I will be discussing that in detail next year. And then, guys, this series, I've got part 1 up to slides 41 on my coffee shop, which is here. Okay, and the coffee, you can look for my name, Coffee. And this is available. I will be doing part 2 by tomorrow. I will post the second part. I only finished those slides just like half an hour ago. And then most of the talks that have been on my channel, I've got available here for sale. And before Christmas soon, I will probably reduce them. I'll put out a discount code and then have you guys get these at a discount if you want to use these for your own education, schools, universities, whatever talks you want to do, whatever polemics or apologetics you need. Yeah, Martin Luther, Lil Main, upsets the living daylights out of me. The more you read this man, the more disgusted I get by him. Okay, right, so moving on. Right, so we are doing part 4 of this talk. Right, so let's continue with this whole Hamas story. So this, of course, is the typical Islamic story, right? Who wants Sharia? Something like 80% of Muslims in the Middle East want Sharia. Who wants to live in Afghanistan? Freaking nobody. Who wants to live in Europe? And then, of course, they take the Sharia with them. That's the hypocrisy of Islamic immigration. They dislike the Sharia, they run away from it, and then they destroy the place that they go to. Very typical. So now, we need to correct a false narrative. Hopefully you've learned a great deal from this, right? If I go back through, actually, let me go back through some slides here. Actually, no need. So the colonial powers, right, namely England and others, of course, invented many countries in Africa and the Middle East. Modern Palestinians date only to the 1960s, right? So understand, modern Palestinians date only to the 1960s. They do not go back before that. Before that, they were called Arabs. Palestinians have no right to propagandize a false history or intend to annihilate Jews. Pardon me. And they certainly do intend to propagate a false history, and they do intend to annihilate Jews. And far too many quote-unquote Christians, if you look on social media, believe the story, promote this story, lie about this story. I'm older than the Palestinian nation. Correct, you are. I heard them say that they're even afraid of becoming the majority because that's when Sharia becomes law. Yeah. Yep. Hello, Tatiana. Welcome. Okay, so in 1947, the UN proposed that the land be divided into a Jewish state and an Arab state. This is very important. An Arab state, not a Palestinian state, an Arab state. They didn't say you guys are Palestinians as if you are Philistines or Romans or Canaanites or Babylonians. Arabs. They were just regular, common or garden Arabs. Right? Arab, not Palestinian. These Arabs, not Palestinians, they failed to annihilate Jews in their war. That's the 1948 War of Independence, right? When Israel declared independence, the Arabs attacked on the same day. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed the series and enjoyed it. I've only got 8 slides on this one, 8 or 9 slides at most, so this is not going to be very long. The Jews, as we learned, bought the land that they settled on until the Arabs lost some land in a war that they started, that the Arabs started. Many Jews came to Israel as immigrants, as did the Arabs, as we discussed. The common name, 3 of the most common surnames, as we discovered, in Palestine are the Bosnian, the Egyptian, and the stranger. In other words, people who came from somewhere else, like Bosnia and Egypt. Jews arrived by sea, and hundreds of thousands of Arabs from all over the Middle East arrived by land to find work. Where else has this happened? Hold on. Anyone know of Arabs going somewhere to find work? Welfare these days? Mostly it's welfare, but Europe. It looks like they might have, because when the Jews started to establish their businesses in what was then the territory called Mandatory Palestine, they made a success out of it. Instead of the dry waste of a desert that it was, they turned it into a successful, economic, thriving environment, and the Arabs came to make money. Okay, so I tried to get these slides but could not download for some reason. I must be doing something wrong, Tatiana. That's well, look, email me. Find my email in the About section. Email me if you have to, or contact me on Skype. My Skype address is not that hard to find, but otherwise leave a comment or email me. That's the easiest way, and I'll be glad to try and help you there. I will be doing part 2, so I'll have 2 sets of slides for this particular series up. Or I might combine them into one set, but I'll probably just leave them as 2. Okay, so today, millions of Arabs emigrate to Christian countries in Europe for work and a better life, leaving their stagnant, poophole Sharia countries. We saw this happen in Israel back in the day too. This is what happened in the land of Israel. Now we need to talk about the intention of the Palestinian obliteration by Islam. The Islamic obliteration of Israel. In Israel and in Western countries, there is prosperity and there is work. In most Arab countries, there is dysfunction and violence. I don't think this is particularly controversial to say. Why didn't the Arabs in the West Bank and Gaza, the Egyptians, the Jordanians, and the Arabs that lived in those regions, why did they not establish their own country when they had 19 years to do that? I've asked this question before. They had no intention of doing so. They had none. Only after 1967, when the Arabs had threatened to wipe out Israel and then lost again, they suddenly decided to become a Palestinian state. Now, don't forget that the PLO was started before this. The PLO was fighting against Israel before these issues were even like a real issue. So, and their intention was to wipe out Israel, not reclaim reclaim land for the Palestinians. The Palestinians do not want a peaceful state alongside Israel. They want to kill all Jews in the world, and they want to eliminate Israel. This is part of the Muslim need for the end times. In the 1988 Hamas Charter, it says, in the name of the most evil Allah, Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it, just as Islam obliterated others before it. And this was the word of the martyr Imam Hassan al-Banna of blessed memory. He founded the Muslim Brotherhood. And I've said before, within their charter, it states that the Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood in Palestine, the world's largest terror organization, also the world's largest secret society. So Israel will exist until Islam obliterates it. So the Hamas is really, and PLO and Fatah and all these groups, they are merely the tip of the spear. But this whole intention of wiping out the Jews, this is a religious requirement of the Muslims, of Islam as a whole. Hamas and the Fakistinians do not want a peaceful, democratic state alongside Israel. Read the Hamas charter. It's quite blunt what they intend to do. The Arabs are very clear in their objectives. Hamas doesn't claim that it's the Palestinians who will wipe out Israel, but Islam. So they are doing the will of the Islamic world. Let's talk about lies. Lies, and lies from Muslim lies in this case. Obviously, they just changed the name of the movement. Yeah, it's called the Islamic Resistance Movement because they had to turn it into supposedly a secular movement. So this is from a Mr. Muslim on TikTok and on Twitter. Mr. Muslim. And Mr. Muslim tells us this is Yemen. Before the USA, after the USA. This is known as lying because this is after Saudi Arabia bombed the living daylights out of it. Your hyperlink? What hyperlink doesn't seem to be working? Lilo man, let me know. Okay, so this is after Saudi Arabia bombed Yemen, right? Now, of course, to say that Muslims went and bombed and killed Muslims wouldn't fit the narrative. You have to blame white people. You have to blame America. It's that simple, right? You cannot, remember, it's illegal for Muslims to embarrass Islam, so they can't claim that Islam is less than perfect. And it's a slander to smear Muslims this way by claiming that Muslims are violent and kill Muslims. To claim that Islam is violent, these things are considered slander in Islam. So they're willing to lie about the most blatantly obvious lies. Yemen before tribal warfare and after tribal warfare. There you have it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, yeah, I've been very active on Twitter lately. So okay, have a look at my, let me just go to my X account. Let me just find you my profile. I'll just drop this in the chat. Yeah, so that's my Twitter profile or on X. Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, follow me on X because I've been saying things there to annoy people. Right, and now we've all heard this common claim: Jesus is a Palestinian. So here you've got Jesus. Are you a Palestinian? And Jesus says, a what? Because yeah, so much for this story. Understand, they will lie about literally anything. The idea of Syria, Palestina, was created in 135 AD. So this is like 100 years after Jesus died. Okay, so he was not a Palestinian. Yeah, their definition of slander is also a lie. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. So now, Jesus is from the tribe of Judah, right? Meaning he's a Jew, right? Which is really odd because he's not a Palestinian. He's not a crazy jihadi, and he didn't talk about diddling kiddies. According to the Gospel of Matthew, the lineage from Judah to Jesus is traced through King David, through Solomon, and several generations until reaching Joseph, the husband of Mary, the mother of Jesus. This genealogy presents Jesus as a descendant of King David, fulfilling messianic prophecies. Merry Christmas, Ilka. Amit Nativ, welcome. Michelle, yes, Locust and Honey, hello there. Rosie McCann, and Tony, yeah. On the other hand, the Gospel of Luke provides a genealogy of Jesus that also traces the lineage through King David, but follows a different line. It goes through Nathan, another son of David, and includes different names leading to Joseph and ultimately Jesus. And of course, we know what the Palestinians think of Jews, so it's odd that they want to claim, well, yeah, they'll lie about anything. Now, both of these, I'm not going to get into the whole disagreement supposedly between the two lineages, but they both highlight Jesus' connection to the line of David and the tribe of Judah. And they will lie about basic things like this. Now, the Palestinians, as I mentioned, have a history of violence. Every single country that they have sought refuge in and been given refuge in, they have undermined that government. They have brought war, suffering, and death, right? They went to Kuwait, and they supported the invasion of Kuwait. They were thrown out of Kuwait. They went to Jordan. They fought a 10-month war because they tried to assassinate the king of Jordan and undermine the government. They were thrown out of Jordan. They went to the Lebanon. They caused chaos in Lebanon with the 15-year civil war. And now they're in the West Bank and in Gaza, and they are causing nothing but grief and trouble. Right? So, yeah. Now, Palestinians have attacked every host country they have lived in. They are a parasite that attacks every host country. There's 500,000 dead in Syria, killed by Muslims. There's at least 350,000 dead in Yemen. No one cares. No one talks about it because it's Muslims killing Muslims, and that would be embarrassing, so they can't blame it on Israel, so yeah, they'll lie. Right? There's upheaval in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Libya, all over the place. All of this turmoil has everything to do with Muslim values. Right? Islam has bloody borders, as someone once said. The borders of Islamic countries are bloody. There's always violence where Islam goes. Islam is the religion of peace. They're fighting with the Hindus. They're fighting with the Sikhs. They're fighting with the Christians. They're fighting with the other Muslims. They're fighting with everybody. The Buddhists. They are fighting with literally everybody. They're at war with everyone, but somehow they are the religion of peace. Right? So now these conflicts have nothing to do with Israel, nothing to do with Jews, everything to do with the violent values of Islam. Muslim organizations, ISIS, Hezbollah, right? Hizb Allah, the party of Allah, right? Hizb Allah, right? The party of God, right? The party of the Muslim God, Hezbollah, right? Hamas, the Muslim Brothers, they are the same thing. Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood. Al-Qaeda, Taliban, Al-Qaeda comes out of the Muslim Brotherhood. Right? ISIS comes out of the Muslim Brotherhood. They have the support of hundreds of millions of Muslims worldwide. Right? So yes, they have to spin the story to play the victim, and that is true. Yes, that is very, very true. And that's James. Yeah. So Muslims, as you know, spit on democracy. They spit on women's rights. Muslims assault and often kill people in the LGBTQ plus FU community. Right? They will throw them off buildings. They will burn them to death. This is standard, right? This is standard. And yet, somehow you have the West that's supporting them because gays for Palestine? Like, what? There are 2 million Arabs in Israel. There are hundreds of mosques in Israel. Arabs are in Israeli parliament and also in the Israeli Supreme Court. How many Jews are in parliament in, I don't know, Egypt? In the Supreme Court in Egypt, right? In Palestine, in Palestinian territories, like zero, none. So how many Jews have rights in Palestine? Zero. Arabs have full rights in Israel. Arabs are not even required to fight in the army. This is entirely optional for them, right? Jews are required to, but here they get an exemption. They are treated fully. There is no apartheid in Israel. There is full equality. Right? Where are the Jews that are supposed to be in the other countries, that were in the other countries? Where are the Christians? Every single country that Muslims today live in, almost every single one was Christian, or they were Hindu, right? Where are their Christians? Where are they? They've ethnically cleansed every single one of those places. Right? So, Arabs enjoy more rights in the Jewish state of Israel than in any other Arab country in the Middle East. If Israel were to disappear from the face of the earth, there would be no peace. Hamas and Fatah would still be planning to fight and kill each other over territory, which is what they did when Hamas was elected. They murdered each other, right? This is the Arab League. You have 22 Arab states, never mind all of the other Muslim countries around this, right? You've got something like 49 Muslim majority countries, but these are 22 Arab states, a population of about 440 million with over 5 million square miles of land. That is Israel over there. And Israel apparently is, that's the occupation. Somehow there's just no space for these fake Palestinians to go. You have one Jewish state, Jewish population, 7.5 million. And I think we've all read the Bible. I think we all kind of might have figured out that Jesus was a Jew. Although I've seen Christians come on my channel and say stupid things like, we're only supposed to respect Jesus as a Jew, but F those other Jews. That you are not a Christian, buddy, right? I've seen this way too often. And, something like most of the apostles were Jews, right? Last I checked, maybe one or two of them at least were Jews. Could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure Peter was a Jew, Paul was a Jew, could be wrong, maybe they were Buddhists, who knows, but someone correct me in the chat, right? So understand that you've got Christians who have things backwards and upside down. you are not Christian. If you're spreading that message, you're spreading lies. So your mind has been colonized by evil, unfortunately. All right. So yeah, that's the colonization that the Muslims are on about. And in fact, some of this territory is actually also the West Bank and Gaza. Right. Now, now notice this land here, that is Jordan. Remember, that was supposed to be the whole Arab portion. This was supposed to be the whole Palestinian mandate at one time. That was supposed to be that. And then the Israelis were willing to give up 77% of the land and take that small strip over there, as opposed to taking all of this. All right. So Israel supports minorities at its maximum. Arab, Christians, yeah. Aramaic, Christian, Druze, exactly. All of those. Right. Christianity was a Jewish movement. Exactly. It came out of the Jewish movement. In fact, it's a fulfillment of the Jewish movement, and it continues the legacy of the priesthood. Right. Oddly enough, there's lots of things to be discussed about that in the future. Now, this is the Gaza Strip before Israel's disengagement in 2005. It is an ancient Jewish movement. That is correct, Neil D. All right. Now, this is, as you know, this is the Gaza Strip. This is the West Bank, previously known as Judea and Samaria. Right? Not Palestine, Judea and Samaria. We know that. All right. So what you've got here is Palestinian autonomous areas. Then in 2005, up to 2005, the Israelis controlled this region. Then they decided to give it all to these Arabs, and they decided to pull out. Right? They literally, if you watch the videos, it is heart-wrenching how they literally left behind everything. They took these families and forcibly resettled them in Israel. In some cases, dragging people by the arm, kicking and screaming, carrying Jews out of this area, kicking and screaming, crying, desperate to return to their homes, right, where they've been for so long. And they literally removed them from the area, threw them out forcibly, gave it all. And in fact, they also left I think, thousands of greenhouses. They wanted these Arabs to start a successful community farming. There would have been food sufficient. They could have exported food. They could have exported plants. They could have actually made something of their economy instead of building tunnels and trying to dream up ways to murder Jews. All right. So now what is interesting is that if you look at Hamas and Fatah, right, the top leaders in that group, over 5 of them, are billionaires. Wow, Steve, thank you very much. God gave the moral law from Hebron personally, Sharia and afterthought. Yeah, Hebron is also where Hebrew, right? Hebron from the Hebrew, right? Hebrew. And also that is where Abraham lived, right? Interesting. Abraham is from the Hebron, right? And so, yeah, I kind of half lost my thought there. So, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for the support, though. It's pretty obvious that their goals are, once you look into it, exactly, just read their charter. Their charter is quite blunt, right? I lived in southern San Francisco for 50 years. The corn still grows, all owned by Orthodox Christians from Ramallah. Yeah, and they were kicked out, right? So anyhow, this was all, so eventually they left. So they could have, why is it that the top leadership, at least 5 people, right, in the Palestinian leadership are billionaires? How did they become billionaires? Ask yourself, how did Mahmoud Abbas become a multi-billionaire? How? Well, theft, obviously, theft, right? So in 2003, Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon presented the disengagement plan, involving the removal of 9,000 Israeli residents from the Gaza Strip and Samaria. That would be this region here, Samaria. The plan's main objectives were to minimize friction between the Israelis and Palestinians and to lay the groundwork for a future peace process. They were giving up land for peace. Wow. So the area of the Gaza Strip to the area of New York City, it's less than half of New York City. My gosh. That's huge, right? So what followed was an intense public discourse in Israel, including demonstrations, rallies, and political and social turmoil. Nevertheless, the plan was approved, and in 2005, Israel fully withdrew from the Gaza Strip back to the 1967 Green Line. They gave it back to the Palestinians, these fake Palestinians. In 2007, Hamas violently rose to power in Gaza. Since then, Hamas has terrorized Israel using political violence for political goals is terrorism. They are terrorists. The past 16 years has resulted in more than 2,000 missile attacks per year and other terrorist acts, most recently the horrific October 7th massacre. Just as Christians and others will deny the Holocaust that happened. I live in Poland, man. I've been to some of these places. It is, I can't explain to you how I felt one day. I went to this one place where Poles were tortured, right? Well, this is what the Nazis were doing to the Poles. It was horrific, horrific. And this was to the Poles, never mind to the Jews. They hated the Jews a lot more. Okay, the things that they did, I left that place and I was speechless. Seriously, it just deeply affected me. It was horrific to see such evil. So yeah, for people to want to deny this is just shocking to me. So let's have a quick look at this. Muslim conflicts. So look, Islam creates violence. This is the history of conflict in the land of Israel since 1948. Our source here is Wikipedia. So maybe it's a little wrong, who knows, but I mean, I guess these things did happen. 1948, the Arab-Israel War. 5 Arab countries attack Israel. Israel didn't start it. 5 Arab countries attacked Israel. 1948, 1967, you have the Fedayeen, Israel. 1967, the Six-Day War. Israel is attacked again, right? The Arabs, the Muslims, attack Israel. Kevroy says 1400 years is enough history to prove that the religion of peace or nothing or anything but peaceful. Yes. Invasion into India, Pakistan, Turkey, and how many millions slaughtered? History doesn't lie exactly. I mean, the slaughter of in the Hind, right, in that India, that might be the largest genocide in history. That may well be the single largest genocide in history. And it's like unknown almost. It's crazy. We need to talk about that one day. 67 to 1970 of the War of Attrition, Israel is attacked. Notice good old Russia involved there. 1973, the Yom Kippur War, Israel's attacked. Israel didn't do the attacking. Arabs, these violent Arabs, are attacking Israel. 71 to 82, Palestinian insurgency in South Lebanon. 85 to 2000, you have the South Lebanon conflict, and Israel's the one attacked again. 87 to 93, the first Intifada. 2000, actually these Intifadas go back to 1920 and go back even before that. They go to 1936, you can go to 1920, 1924, there's a whole bunch of these freaking things. Right, it's the 1936 Intifada that caused the Nazi Mufti to flee to Berlin to go work for Hitler. 2006, the Lebanon War. Again, they attack Israel. 2008, the Gaza War. You have these Muslims attacking Israel. 2012, the Israeli Gaza operation. Right, they've attacked Israel. 2014, 2021, and 2023. Again, they're attacked Israel. Hang on, let me just go back to my. Let me just go back here. These slides are in my store. I'm just trying to find my store. Just go there for a moment. So this is my coffee shop. That's one of my photos, by the way. And I didn't realize, actually did not realize when I posted this on, I have a few of these guys. These are, there's a name for these guys. Their meat tastes terrible. They've got some weird gland that injects this horrible tasting hormone into their skin so they don't get eaten by the animals, but they look beautiful. I mean, this was a very freezing cold winter's day. It was raining, but I didn't realize that this guy was taking a wee here. I have another picture without it, but a slightly better one. But yeah, so yeah. Yeah, but I have my shop here. So, and then I've got this, Israel versus Palestine, the real history of a fake nation. This is up to slide 41 in this one, and I'll post the other slides because I just finished them just before the show. I'll post the second set of slides, part 2, later. All right, so I'll post those so you can get these here. So yeah, and also I have got a whole bunch of articles that I've been writing. I just did one on the Council of Nicaea did not make Jesus divine, so I'm posting several articles a week right now. I've posted a whole bunch recently. So again, Muslims are making the claim that the Council of Nicaea made Jesus divine. No, it goes way back before that. So I try to make articles that are short and to the point. Am I trying to make a statement? No, I only realized afterwards that I didn't see it until afterwards. Yeah, so understand you're dealing with violent Arabs, violent Muslims who, for religious reasons, must murder the Jews. So the last couple of slides, and we'll finish. Actually, this is the last slide. So let's finish up here. For some unknown reason, I've created my own page. I want to join you. Sorry, so hold on. You can just subscribe. Just follow. Hang on, let me go back there. On it. Yeah, I've got no memory on this, so I need to. Yeah, you may need to make an account. You don't have to make your own page. You may need to make an account, but you can just click on follow. Yeah, so you can just click on the follow button up here and choose one of these avenues. Yeah, and then so hold on, and also while I'm at this, let me just do this as well. Where did I put it here? So yeah, I'm also great. It's not going to let me do that, so let me do this. So this is my X account, and thank you guys. I was able to get a premium X account because of the donations that have supported me. So I wrote this article and I've posted that, and I've been putting up a few, like here you've got a future scientist, in the early pre-scientist phase. So yeah, things like this. I put up various posts like this. I put up little articles. So this might be useful for those of you who want to follow and learn a few things about Islam. So final slide, and then we finish this one. And thank you very much for all the time you've invested in this, and hopefully you'll use this, have learned something. So this is a recent survey from the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey. 72% of Palestinians see nothing wrong in what Hamas did on October 7th. In other words, they justify murder, they justify civilian casualties, they justify violating all of the rules of war. And they justify the slaughter of civilians, babies, women, rapes, all of these things that are atrocities. They have justified this. These people have zero respect for human rights. Understand, these are barbarians. They voted, almost 80% of the country voted for Hamas. They voted for this. 60% of Palestinians, 38% in Gaza, 75% in the West Bank, prefer Hamas to rule after the war ends. The support for Hamas has gone up. In other words, they are perpetuating the very same thing that started this. 64% of Palestinians reject the two-state solution. The two-state solution has been presented at least 6 times. It's been rejected every single time. They don't want a two-state solution. They want to kill the Jews, take the land, and that's it. And personally, if someone said, look, I want to kill you and take your land, I might object to that aggressively. 63% of Palestinians, 56% in Gaza, 68% in the West Bank, prefer armed resistance against Israel over peace talks. Notice the resistance. Remember, that was the whole propaganda from the 60s. That's how that was rewritten. They prefer jihad over peace talks. Yeah. And nothing will change. It's very simple. Hamas must be destroyed. Even more than that, Islam must be destroyed. It's that simple. Here are the stats. Okay? If it is up to you, which of those you prefer to see in control of the Gaza Strip? Notice Hamas. The majority here prefer Hamas, right? The Palestinian Authority, the Green, they are losing grip. And Hamas, the violent Muslim Brotherhood terror organization, is gaining support. Did Hamas commit war crimes in the current war? Okay? And very few, notice, only 10% of them have said yes. 90% of them have said no. It's okay. Just murder all the babies you want to, rape all the women, kill all the civilians. It's fine. And take hostages. Hostages are just fantastic if they're Jews. In your view, given what happened after, was Hamas' decision to launch its offensive against Israel a correct or an incorrect move? And 72% are like, yeah, that was good stuff. 82% in the West Bank. So the total 72. West Bank, 82%. Gaza Strip, 57. Yeah. It got us bombed, killed, and we are moaning that 5 billion people died in the West Bank. But yeah, it's okay. We're good with it. Understand, these people are not your friends. These people are steeped in violence. Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you for putting it all in the hard work to edify the body. Thank you very much. God bless. Thank you very much for that. All right, so yeah. So now you've got a vast majority of these people support violence. When they come to your country, eventually they will do the same in your country. Palestinian-Israeli relations and the peace process, right? So do you support the solution based on the establishment of a Palestinian state alongside Israel? And only 32% of people support that. In other words, 70% of Muslims don't want a two-state solution. They want Israel wiped off the map. They want the Jews killed. And they want to take all the land of Israel. Now, if you were a Christian, you would know that Jesus was a Jew The apostles were Jews. The Bible is a Jewish book. I'm pretty sure it's not Hindu. And you need to support Israel in this. Now, of course, lots of people have a lot of propaganda in their heads. They've been indoctrinated by Muslims. They've been lied to using communist propaganda, Muslim propaganda. I will talk more about that in the future, but you need to approach people with the truth. Remember, you are that grain of sand, and you need to go grind those gears. As one person, you may not be much, but you're a grain of sand. And if you are willing, courage is infectious, right? Courage is contagious. You need to be courageous. You need to put the facts out. You need to fight against the lies. Use these slides. Get them. Use them. Take screenshots. Do whatever you have to. Go on social media. Spread the truth, because these lies are fragile and they don't hold up under the truth. They do not hold up under the light of truth. Be that grain of sand. Grind those gears. So just seriously, one grain of sand can cause a lot of damage, and 2 grains of sand and a whole bunch of sand, you can grind those gears to a halt. So I heard the idea that Hamas was created by Israel. Yeah, and Islam was created by the Catholic Church, right? And then Islam was created by the Swiss, and Islam was created by the Jews. The groups that make up those stories need to get into a boxing ring, take knives, and fight it out until one of them wins. And they say, okay, well, I won. My story is true because I killed all the other guys who had a completing theory. So, yeah, Hamas was created by Israel, sure. No, I actually have some knowledge of that story, and they'll spin everything into a lie. So, because they'll tell you that, the CIA actually supported Al-Qaeda. Of course, they were fighting the Russians. And then once that was done, Al-Qaeda decided, well, let's go kill us some Americans now. Thanks for the weapons and the training. So, yeah. So, guys, yeah. You should love the grain of sand analogy. You're welcome, Lil Main. Thank you. So, guys, that's it from me. That's the whole story. That's all the slides. I will post these. So, any last questions before we go? So, let me just see if I can give any highlights from this. Right. It is religiously required. Actually, let me go back here. It is religiously required that they kill the Jews. Right. This is part of the religious requirement. Right. As you can see here, this is sunnah for Muslims to kill Jews. Right. These questions I asked previously, I've not seen good answers. There was one guy who came on to actually lie to me. There are lots of liberal, self-hating Jews, lots of liberal, self-hating white people. Please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Okay? Just don't. Defend your culture. Learn what your culture is. Defend it, because I can assure you lots of people absolutely, positively hate you for nothing, for no reason. Defend your culture. Defend it. Honestly, it is the best thing that's ever happened to the world. Right? So we've spoken about these timelines. We've spoken about the Muslims even admit that this was definitely Jewish land. So guys, you have a civilization to defend. You need to act with courage. Be that grain of sand. So, and thank you all for joining us. All of Nigeria, yes, even Africa, to be Islamic, exactly. And they are working, and fight for the truth. Bring the facts. Don't back down. Do not back down. So, yeah, so guys, thank you very much. If there's no last questions, I'll leave, and then I don't think I'll be doing another stream until after Christmas, but I'll certainly be doing something after Christmas, and then in New Year I will be doing. Actually, hold on, let me just do that. Let me just go find that. I need to find. Great. Let me go here. Yeah, so one of the first things I'm going to do, one of the very first things I'll be doing next year is Pius X. Okay? And recently, the channel took actually a major hit because I discussed that the Catholic Catechism explicitly states, and I mentioned multiple popes that explicitly stated that, according to the Catholic view, right, within the Catholic belief and the Catholic Catechism, that Muslims and Christians worship the same God. And lots of Catholics abandoned the channel, calling me a liar, lied about me, lied to me, and abandoned the channel, even though I am 100% correct. And then they talk about the word profess, that the word profess is not used. Nonsense. That's not true. And in fact, within the Catholic service, they use the word profess. You have the profession of faith. So if you are saying that we are now going to give the profession of faith in the Catholic Mass, then you're saying we're now going to be lying and claiming, but not really meaning it. So yeah, if the word profess means that, then you are lying. You are telling outright lies. You are deceiving God during your Catholic Mass. So understand, I approach this very carefully, but Catholics have called me a liar and abandoned the channel for telling the truth. So yeah. So, by the way, for those who support Pius X, this was a brilliant man. He said some very good things, but he also states, Pius X, for all those who love him, Pius X also admits openly that Muslims and Christians worship the same God. That's your chance now to throw Pius X under the bus. Call him a liar like me. So, no, Sam Shamoun has stated that Catholic apologists are done with me, just so you know. Apparently Catholic apologists are done with me. They're done with you, I was told. So apparently I'm persona non grata. So talk to Catholic apologists. I mean, we'll see if Catholic apologists want to talk to me, but yeah, I've gotten good authority because certain Catholics went and ran off to certain people and said, did you see what Lloyd said? And they tried to get me cancelled successfully, as it was. So yeah. Okay, so guys, that's that. Next year is another year, so guys, have a wonderful Christmas. And yeah, please, if you do like this content, do like, share, subscribe. You can get the content on my channel, and yeah, and these can get the content on my shop if you want to spread this. And yeah, I will hopefully be having the Muslim apologist on again next year. There's a few things. And by the way, he stated, for instance, that he supports Yusuf Qaradawi. He threw Al-Azhar University under the bus. Al-Azhar University was where Yusuf Qaradawi got his PhD in Islamic studies. So, okay, fine. All of these are fascinating things. Hopefully, we will tackle some more of these things next year. Voice of Reason, yeah, look, yeah, the fact that I'm on YouTube and that they're on YouTube doesn't mean that I know them or that they will talk to me or that we're all in one big happy club. Yeah, let's see. Thank you. So, yeah, guys, let's see. Voice of Reason is an excellent Catholic apologist. Yeah, I've watched very little of his stuff, just a couple of minutes of his talks. Yeah. So Catholics are throwing... Yeah, also, something that you're going to learn is that Pius X speaks of the modernists, that what the modernists wanted was for Catholics to criticize the Pope, undermine the Pope, constantly undermine the Church. And you will find that many, many Catholics who are constantly undermining the Pope, constantly smearing the Pope, constantly undermining, smearing, insulting, and having all these conspiracy theories about the Church and Vatican II and so on, well, whatever. I mean, But that is exactly what the modernists wanted. By the definitions of Pius X, many of these Catholics are modernists. They're exactly the problem that Pius X said is the problem. So many Catholics who are doing these things are the problem that Pius X said is the problem. So yeah, I'll probably make myself even less popular. So yeah, guys, thank you very much. Have a wonderful Christmas. Have a wonderful New Year. Truth is not always popular. Proof is not always persuasion, but that's how that is. So guys, God bless. Stay safe. Use the facts. I back up everything as much as I can with facts. So yeah. So yeah, rather than having that unsubbing, well, they let's just say I got ridiculed, I got smeared, I got slandered for using Catholic sources. I was told these are your sources. I'm like, no, these are official Catholic sources. These are all of them. I had plenty, believe me, hundreds of pages of paperwork. And it's like, I was ridiculed and smeared for using official Catholic sources. Just like the Muslims do, the Catholics did to me. And look, Protestants have done it too, but understand it's just, those are the facts. People don't always like the truth when it's unpleasant. They were happy when I was talking about Luther, but they weren't happy when I was talking about, yeah. But again, we will also then do next year the Spanish Inquisition. And then you'll find that the entire Protestant enterprise was just lies. So we'll do all that next year. I say all these bold things, and hopefully I'll bring the facts next year. So we'll see. So guys, thank you. I need to get out of here. Let's call it a night, guys. So please stay safe, drive safely, stay safe in the winter, stay safe in the snow, stay warm. Have a good time with your families. I hope you guys have a great, happy, peaceful time, and keep fighting. Fight for your culture. If you're white, it's okay to be white. Okay, I said it, right? If you are European, it's okay to be European, right? And it's okay to defend your culture. If you're Christian, it's okay to be Christian. Fight for your culture. It's better than this Islamic nonsense. All right? Don't get sunburned. Yeah. drink plenty of water, use sunscreen, as Baz Luhrmann said, and stay safe. Have a wonderful Christmas. Have a wonderful celebration. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you. Another donation. I'm so grateful for that. Sorry, I can't see who that is. Let me try and expand. Gergely Oskolas, thank you very much. So yeah, remember, you do not back down. You stand on the truth. Fight for your culture. Know that Western culture, Christian culture, is the best thing that's ever happened to this planet. So yeah, do not let the bastards grind you down. Stand on your faith. Fight for the truth. Be that grain of sand. So guys, I really should go, but yeah, take care everyone. Have a wonderful Christmas. And have I ever tried to contact David Wood? I've met David Wood briefly on some channels, but not, I mean, David Wood is, he's like, you know, very much in his lane. So guys, take care. Stay well. See you soon. All right. Bye-bye.